Top of the broadcast, everyone. We'd like to once again thank everyone for attending and coming to see 1Soughtout. Once again, our program is based upon those that are being uplifted and trying to be a part of the solution here in San Antonio, and some of the main things that people overlook. We look at it, we call them hidden jewels or treasures. I was blessed to meet Steve once again, being a part of the solution. He is also not just with Second Chance, but he's a precinct chairperson. During our inauguration, I was allowed and blessed to meet a great deal of people who are a part of the solution. Even though this program is not politically based, it only seems that I'm blessed to run into people that have the same admiration for San Antonio as I do, to see us with a better opportunity to shine. And the programs that you have been seeing is basically for Texas, but it's mainly to polish San Antonio up. Because when we first moved here, as you hear me say every program, I'm originally from Detroit. Well, when we came here, we noticed that there were a lot of programs to help those who were basically homeless or they needed an opportunity. Well, we seen that people wasn't plugged in. So that's why we said last time we would like to see, what we were about to talk about, from Judge Sheldon to those that's ex-convicts, or at one time it was called exfelons.org. You could go and find the listing of jobs. So since I can't explain it right, I have been blessed to have Steve here with me. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Marcus and I was talking about your Second Chance program. Okay. I need you to help me get it from embryo to where it is today and the projection that you can see it happening at. That if you can, just...
Great, no, absolutely. The Second Chance Democrats is a reaction to a failed criminal justice system. So often, we are in our communities and we're looking at the high poverty rates, we're looking at, broken homes, we're looking at lack of education, lack of employment, and very few people, make that connection, that there is a connection between failing communities and a failed criminal justice system. The Second Chance Democrats is a club that was formed in order to empower formerly incarcerated persons, or that would allow us to have a very strong voice in the political system.
Okay.
What was amazing about the outcome of Second Chance Democrats is that in the process of creating this entity, we figured out, wait a minute, we are the political power. Yes. We outnumber everybody. Yes. And, we as a nation, Texas, being a big incarceration state, worked for 4 decades to ensure that we were the largest political power in America. What we didn't know what our political rights were. Yeah. So in Texas, people aren't aware, who have past criminal histories, that they're able to vote. Right. People who are on probation aren't aware that they're able to vote. People on felony probation, deferred adjudication, they're not aware that they can vote. Right. So Second Chance Democrats is designed to give that empowerment to our population in order for us to have a say in the electoral process. Yes. Many times you have candidates like judges and district attorneys running for office. So few times do they ever acknowledge, if ever at all, that we are the constituents that elect them, and yet they're incarcerating us. Right. And at that realization, we begin to realize, well, we didn't know this either.
Right.
And so you're sort of waking up a sleeping giant, and that's what we're doing. We're waking up a sleeping giant, and that giant is going to stand up, and it's going to sweep Texas like a human tsunami, a tsunami of change, and it's going to tear down this oppressive system. Second Chance Democrats is a reactionary process to a institutional discrimination, to structural discrimination, to racial discrimination, to bring real content to the slogans that I believe in education.
Right.
We hear that so many, Second Chance Democrats is a process that says, yes, we know you support education, but damn it, do something about it.
Exactly.
You've been saying it for 4 years. You've been saying it for 8 years.
Right.
And education has failed. We can fix this. The formerly incarcerated people are such a vast political power that we can fix it. We have always had the ability to tear down the criminal justice system. We just never knew it. And the Second Chance Democrats is the process. It's a vehicle for political empowerment for the disenfranchised, for the poor, for the unheard, for those that are unspoken for.
Right.
I've been involved in community activities for many years here in San Antonio. Reentry, trying to get people employment. I've been involved in the political process as well. And never, in my entire time, ever, absolutely never, have I ever heard us as a part of the discussion when the discussion of public safety was there, when the discussion of criminal justice reform was there, when the discussion of why we have failing schools is there, when the discussion as to why school districts can't draw upon a strong tax base isn't there. No one ever bothered to consider why. You can't draw water from a dry well. If you have a community where 70,000 of the residents are formerly incarcerated people and barred from employment, well, you're going to have high poverty, you're going to have high unemployment, you're going to have high persons on food stamps and housing, you're going to have a failing tax base for a school district. Right. We have the ability to fix this. No one's going to fix this but us.
And that goes to what we were just discussing about this being not just land breaking, but it's also pioneering for those, like you said, that do not have a voice. I have 4 sons, 3 daughters, several grandchildren, and they're still in the city. One of my sons, when he come home, he has like 86 tattoos. So like I said, son, you're going to have to open up your own business. But you need to be a landowner. And the thing is, what's being established here can also be implemented in different states across country, because it is not a phenomenon, but it is a planned act to actually keep people in poverty as the tax basis for some cities because of the fines, because of the arrest, as they say, we got to meet our Christmas quota, so we got to give out so many tickets, and then when you can't pay the ticket because you in school, or we was watching the news today, this is the truth. A 7-year-old was driving the golf cart and he got a ticket. A 7-year-old, his mother was in there with him. They didn't give her the ticket. They gave the 7-year-old the ticket. Now, that's not a flaw. He don't even have a license. So how would you issue him a ticket? But they create the laws. And until we are in political position to actually hire or elect people that's going to represent the vast invisible, is what I call all of us, who may be of color and those who don't have the commas behind their names, or those who have felons. We are that invisible vote that don't nobody really want to acknowledge. I live 2010 district, which is, San Pedro and Sahara area. And I love my community. I mean, everybody look at it as like, well, they don't count. Well, I have 1,008 registered voters, and I'm still registering people to vote. Yeah. So if a political person really cared, or a person that's trying to get into a seat really cared, they would come to the community and find out, what can we do to help implement? How many people do you have that's been arrested? How many people do you have that are bilingual? How many people can we network with to help them get their jobs? That's why I was saying about the Goodwill. They give free GED classes, and they don't care if you're a felon or not. If you want to learn, they will teach you. But San Antonio actually pays for the GED. But people don't know. And that's where Second Chance come in at, because I stutter. And I'm excited because there's someone that's standing up for the invisible. And that's the only way I can call us. I don't say ghosts because we're actually tangible, but no one is touching us. No one is reaching out because they either have been brainwashed or their mindset is, once you're a criminal, you'll always be a criminal. You can never change. And I keep saying, well, what about Judge Mathis? He's a judge. He was a felon.
Yes.
But he had an opportunity. And then you have others, that have really moved. And Gabriel and a few other people, my son is Gabriel, that's his name. They, with the tattoos and stuff, and I'm saying, why don't y'all open your own business? Once you own property, now you have a say-so in the Board of Education. Once you own property and you're a taxpayer, now you have a voice in your community of how you want it to be ran. Once you own property. See, they don't tell us that. When I moved here, it cost me an extra $100 a month because of something that happened March the 3rd, 1999. Mm-hmm. I said, March the 3rd, 1999. Because I have that on my record as a felon, I have to pay more for rent. And that's just one of the stumbling blocks. When we were living in the Appalachians, as we was talking, I was working at Kimberly-Clark laying concrete because that's what we do. Like here in Texas, mm-hmm. Everybody worked the oil field. Well, when I quit working at Kimberly-Clark and I tried to get a job at Lowe's, because I could tell you a wood screw, drywall screw, finishing nail, mahogany wood, pine wood, oak wood, tell you the whole thing. Passed the hair fiber test, drug-free. Sorry, sir, you have a felony and we don't hire felons. That's really a key thing about the political empowerment we're looking. You mentioned several things that are really important that, I think the audience should be aware of first. And please touch on them, please, every one of them.
You can't own property so long as you're considered as property. So we are considered property. And if you think we're free men in a free nation, you need to wake up.
Right.
We are enslaved people in an oppressive system that is evolving itself to even look beyond the context of color and to attack the character of economic status. So now the criminal justice system is involved into an animal that attacks poverty. It's a class state. We are relying on income for city development at the cost of the human endeavor. We put people in positions that purposely make it hard for them to get ahead, because if we get ahead, then that's just one less person that's property. So we don't want you to be a property owner while you're considered property ourselves. And you have over 670,000 people in San Antonio alone who are formerly incarcerated people. Wow. About 100,000 or more are the actual felons. The rest are misdemeanors, and they average about 3 to 6 misdemeanors a person.
Wow.
Here's the big catch. There are 900 and something thousand registered voters. Okay? Right. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to figure out